Anthony here for DNews, and a study run by the University of St. Andrews in Scotland showed that employers across just about all industries have a negative view of tattoos. They used words like dirty, repugnant, and abhorrent when describing how they thought their clients or customers would perceive tattooed people as employees.
How do you define art? What is art? To me, it's, an image or a piece that conveys a feeling or emotion in you. It stirs something in you. And obviously a lot of examples of tattooing that do that. And if you don't get that out of looking at a tattoo, then either the tattoo isn't very well done or you're just not open to, seeing it that way.
I would 100% consider it an art form, and I'd probably say it's the hardest form of art I've ever tried to pursue.
I would say that's not really up to me to decide. To me, it is an art. If somebody doesn't see it that way, I'm not going to try to tell them it's not. There's a lot of creativity that goes into it, but at the end of the day, art in itself it's for the viewer and to interpret.
Tattooing considered as a form of art, as to where, you got paintings, you got all this stuff that people see, people go to museums, as to where, personally, this is your own museum. It's a true art form. It's an expression that you can push out, as to where you're basically giving a template to people before they even meet you to understand what it is. And that's where the art comes, is to where that's that connection between you and another person, as to where that's what makes it a true art form. It's easier to express art on a canvas and just display it rather than it be on a body and it's working with it and adapting to it, and then also making it to where that art is a piece of that person that you're working with and also yourself. And so that creation is what art is.
It's not really my call. I'm just the practitioner or the applicator. If you don't see it as art, that's your call. I mean, the further you look into it, it'd be hard to really make that argument. If you take one look at a clean, well-applied tattoo, it would be hard to see it as anything but, creative and artistic.
I watched a documentary. He's a Japanese tattooer, and they interviewed him, and he was talking about how the way he was taught that tattooing is the most sacred form of art because it requires two people. It requires two people to make it, and it doesn't last. There's no way to keep it, really. And I was kind of blown away by that, and I totally agree, because it's two people have to go in and agree to finish it.
More of an intimate thing, as to where yes, it's something that people don't really understand fully. They don't understand what goes into it, what takes to it. A lot of people just think that it's just pictures on skin, and realistically it's not.
This allows me to do work that is also meaningful. You get to do a lot of important tattoos to people, but also meaningful to me.
It's more of kind of like sigil magic. It's a way to give people an embodiment and an image, as to where whatever they experience within that time frame of the beginning and the end of that tattoo, every time that they look at that tattoo, they're going to remember that full conversation. They're going to be very present to it. So I believe it's sigil magic, to where it just brings that representation back to thought and brings it to as a whole.
I think a lot of people who don't appreciate art are the only people that don't consider it art. I feel if you appreciate art, then you're going to appreciate every single medium, and tattooing just happens to be a different medium.
They've been around for thousands of years, but these days, face it, tattoos have become the new normal. You see them on all kinds of people, from Wall Street execs to the girl next door, and now they're headed into the rarefied world of fine art and onto the auction block.
Often misunderstood, tattoos have been used as cultural traditions all over the world. Brought stateside by swells of servicemen post-World War II, they came to signify rebellion, a badge of courage, and everything in between. Now they're getting the attention of sophisticated art dealers as there are now TV shows.
3 of the country's best artists have joined forces.
And conventions dedicated to getting inked.